I wanted to make a quick follow-up video to a video exclusive Ace just put out on bullet velocity. If you haven't watched that video, I'd recommend you check it out because it does have a lot of important information if you want to understand how projectiles work in Modern Warfare. There's a link in the description. This video explains another element of bullet velocity that he just may not have noticed because he wasn't testing for it. He neglects to mention the damage range reduction or increase that you will receive when using an attachment that affects bullet velocity. I know that sounds strange, and that's because it is. Damage range exists as its own stat, but for some reason it's also being affected by bullet velocity. Without knowing that, I don't see why he would feel the need to test for it anyways, and I found it on accident. You might notice that almost all attachments that have an increase to bullet velocity also have an increase to damage range listed. I think the only one that increases velocity without damage range is the integral monolithic suppressor on the MP5. At least it doesn't say that it increases damage, but it does, and I'll prove that in this video. Besides this, you can find damage range being increased without increasing velocity, but you can't find increase in velocity on its own with this one exception. This just adds another piece to the puzzle and makes me wonder why they neglect to include a damage range reduction to the con list whenever there is a decrease to bullet velocity or an increase in damage range in the case of the MP5. Perhaps it's just an interface bug and it's always been intended to be listed, or at worst, it's a mechanical bug that is 100% unintentional. This is exactly like the situation in my hipfire video where I show attachments, which also happen to be mostly barrels, affecting hipfire without actually saying they do. Some make it worse, some make it better, and it's by a significant amount in some cases. Bullet velocity has its own mechanics in game, so I'm not sure it's supposed to be tied to the damage range directly, but it seems like that's the case. Something as minor as the flash guard on the M4 has a small damage range reduction, even though it says it reduces bullet velocity and not damage range. The commando barrel on the M4 doesn't list anything about reducing damage range, but that's exactly what it does on top of also reducing that bullet velocity. If you watch here, you can clearly see a decent reduction in the 4-shot kill range with an attachment that doesn't say it's doing this. If you throw the mini barrel on the MP5 to get faster movement and aim down sight speed, you are getting worse bullet velocity and recoil control along with the hidden penalty of a reduced damage range. The subsonic suppressor reduces your damage range even more than this, and the attachment does not tell you this. This is also the only weapon that has an increase to bullet velocity by itself, while neglecting to mention an increase to damage range when using the monolithic integral suppressor. In this clip, the left side is the MP5 3-shot range without any attachments, and the right side is using the monolithic integral. That's a substantial increase in a 3-shot kill range on an attachment that once again does not share this information with the player. So bullet velocity is secretly increasing or reducing range on weapons that don't have damage range listed as a pro or con, or attachments that have both the bullet velocity increase and damage range increase receiving a double benefit to damage range. I really hope Infinity Ward can shed some light on the situation because it doesn't make a lot of sense, much like the hipfire issue. This is a problem for multiple reasons. It gives players a false sense of their setup and what exactly they are sacrificing for movement speed or other benefits. This could also mean that other attachments are doing things they shouldn't be doing. I wonder if the damage range reduction attachments are also modifying the bullet velocity without showing it. I'll leave that one to Ace for testing since he has a lot of data on that already. I think I mentioned it in my video about attachments modifying hipfire without saying it, but this makes me wonder what other attachments have an odd behavior or secret modifier. If you found this video useful, join the conversation below and leave a comment. If you have any specific questions about what I talk about here, I'll be happy to answer what I can. Subscribe and hit that bell icon so you don't miss out on future videos, and I'll see you next time.